Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for joining us on the John and Heidi Show. How you doing there, baby?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, very good. We're halfway through the week, and I'm excited. Got a special guest on the program today, Dr. Fred Jacobs. We're going to talk about why primary care physicians are going away. There's fewer and fewer primary care physicians, so we're going to find out why that's happening. What if that has something to do with Obamacare? I guess we'll find out. Anyway, also, did you know that 7-Up originally contained lithium citrate?
I don't know what that is.
It is a mood-stabilizing drug.
I know what lithium is. I didn't know.
It's like
lithium
laughing gas.
citrate? So is that...
Lithium citrate. They put it into the 7-Up. This is back in, the early days. They quit doing this in 1950, so it's been a while. So 1950 is when they said, okay, we should probably quit putting drugs in our beverage. Although people tended to like it for some reason. So anyway... coming up here in a bit, we've got a lot of special things happening. We'll tell you which things in a while on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today,
I thought
John?
you'd never ask. It's Wednesday, January the 27th. Today is Vietnam Peace Day. That's cool.
Okay.
It's also Holocaust Memorial Day.
Yikes, what a miserable day.
It is International Mobile Phone Recycling Day. So if you got a mobile phone that you don't use, if it's sitting in a drawer somewhere, get rid of that darn thing. They can use the insides of that to use, pull metals out of it and recycle it. It's also National Geographic Day. We've been chatting with a lot of people from National Geographic.
Yes.
Just the other day we had a young lady on that was talking about the Challenger disaster, and that show was on Nat Geo on Monday. And it's Thomas Crapper Day today, the inventor of the toilet.
Of the bathroom.
Yes. Well, not the bathroom, just the toilet.
Why
What?
do we call it the John then?
I don't know. You'd think his name would be John Crapper, but
Yeah.
no, it's Thomas Crapper. I don't know. I think that's a good question, Heidi.
It should be called the Thomas.
Well, there you go. And as my name is John, I would appreciate it if it was called anything but John. All right, coming up, we've got actual tests from 15 and 16-year-olds, some actual questions that are hilarious. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. I actually found something that I didn't know where else to put it. I just decided I'm going to put it here. These are actual answers on tests from 15 and 16-year-olds. So listen to this. Ancient Egypt was inhabited by mummies, and they all wrote in hydraulics, not hieroglyphics apparently. They lived in the Sahara Desert and traveled by Camelot.
Oh, how cute.
The Sahara? These are 15 and 16-year-old kids. These are not 5-year-olds. The climate of the Sahara is such that the inhabitants had to live elsewhere.
Wow.
All right, another one. These are 15 and 16-year-old kids that answered these questions. The Bible is full of interesting caricatures. All right. In the first book of the Bible, Genesis, Adam and Eve were created from an apple tree. One of their children, Cain, asked,
gosh.
"Am I my brother's son?" Wow. Okay. Moving down here. The Greeks were a highly sculptured people, and without them, we wouldn't have history. The Greeks also had myths. A myth is a female moth. In the world. Actual answers on tests from 15 and 16-year-old kids. Actually, Homer was not written by Homer, but by another man of that name. Apparently, he was a fan of The Simpsons or something. I'm not sure.
Wow.
In the Olympic Games, Greeks ran races, hurdled the biscuits, and threw the Java.
This has got to be kids that are
Not smart?
just screwing around, see if the teachers even read their tests.
I don't know. These are real answers, though. Another story was William Tell, who shot an arrow through an apple while standing on his son's head. What? No. He shot an apple off of his son's head.
I think that's what he meant. The apple was on his son's head.
In medieval times, most people were alliterate. He spelled that wrong, or she spelled that wrong. I'm going to just guess it was a he.
That alone.
The greatest writer of the futile ages was Chaucer, who wrote many poems and verses and also wrote literature. All right, and we're going to just call that our last one.
Okay, good.
There's several others, but this is not translating.
No, it's not.
Coming up, we got your brain on drugs, and these things are true because you heard them on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. This is a bizarre story. Police said a man has been arrested on suspicion of drunk driving after he crashed head-on into a hearse.
Oh,
taking a body
yikes.
to a funeral with the deputy sheriff watching.
That's a bad day right there.
Yeah, Ray Marquez says Los Angeles County deputy pulled up behind a car and said the driver appeared unconscious as he sat idling at a green light.
Oh, my gosh.
The deputy tapped on the driver's window, and the car immediately surged through the intersection into oncoming traffic and smashed into a hearse.
Oh, my gosh.
Marquez says nobody was injured. He said it was an 18-year-old that was arrested, cited, and released later. Marquez said a replacement hearse arrived to take the body to its destination at a funeral nearby. Can you imagine?
Huh.
You're sitting in a funeral procession and a drunk driver, runs into the hearse?
Huh.
That is just crazy. But that happened.
That's unfortunate.
Was in L.A. County, yeah. So he tapped on the kid's window, and the kid pushed on the gas. That's not the right reaction. Coming up, we've got a moment of dull. We'll get to that in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Now your moment of duh. A police station in Prague has had 3 of their 24-hour security cameras that were mounted outside the station stolen. Each camera is worth about $15,000. So why is this the moment of duh? Because these stolen cameras outside the police station went unnoticed for 3 days.
Oh, man.
Police have officially explained it as human error. So 3 of their $15,000 security cameras were stolen.
I would assume you can get away with pretty much anything in that community.
It's Prague. Yeah, apparently. If you can do that, steal the cameras right outside the police station door. So I don't exactly know how that would work, though.
That's an expensive camera.
It is.
Holy cow.
$15,000. So I don't know. Maybe we need to get in the camera selling business.
I guess.
All right. Coming up, we have your scoop of the day. That is on the way. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
The scoop of the day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. A study finds that television may actually be doing harm to babies.
Oh my gosh.
Research, well, just listen here. Research has determined that viewing TV before the age of 2 has no impact on a child's learning ability. Wait a minute. So television may do...
How does that do harm then?
Oh, do no harm. I missed a word. My bad.
Because I was going to say, we just read a story that contradicted that entirely.
That's why, because I read it wrong. Sorry, TV. That's my bad. Chipotle says they're closing all of their stores for a day next month to discuss food safety. They've had some issues around the country, so trying to get that all fixed up. The bare minimum of exercise is good enough, suggests a study concluding that just 15 minutes of daily physical activity increases your life expectancy by 14%, or about 3 years, over your lazy counterpart. So saying even just a little bit of exercise. They're not saying you need to do a lot. Just a little something. It's better than nothing. The internet, is it keeping your family apart? A recent study says families in the U.S. are spending less time together. A study by the Annenberg Center for Digital Future doesn't place the blame on the internet, though. It does note that the decline in family time does coincide with a rise in internet use and popularity of social networks, but they're going, just a coinky-dink.
Yeah,
that
I don't
has
think so.
nothing to do with it. Then again, this study was from the Annenberg Center for the Digital Future. So, I think they have a little bias in that.
Yeah, probably.
Like,
just
the
a little.
internet? No, it has nothing to do with that. Just that everything that you
I will say, we went on a little road trip this last weekend.
Yeah, it was fun.
As a family, and we spent quite a bit of time together. It was a really good time. We made everybody put down their technology. And
I'll tell you, one of my favorite things, though, we played a game where you were reading
movie
quotes from movies, and we had to guess what movie. Our son rocks at that game.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, you would read like 3 words, and he'd shout out the answer. I'm like, how do you know all of this stuff? And they were movies I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is it? That's a movie? Have we seen this movie? He was like, I've seen it. I'm like, wow, I need to get out more. All right, the wordiness of a U.S. tax code has tripled in the last decade. Now runs 3.8 million words. To put that into context,
ridiculous.
William Shakespeare only needed 900,000 words to say everything he ever had to say in print, ever. Hamlet, Othello, the history plays, the sonnets, everything combined, 900,000 words makes up an entire William Shakespeare entire career.
That's ridiculous. Our government is entirely too bloated and ridiculous and needs to be chopped down at the knees.
The U.S. tax code for one single year, 3.8 million words. All right, boy or girl, a simple blood test in mothers-to-be could answer that question with surprisingly accurate results in about 7 weeks. So if you're 7 weeks along, you could already get this done. Not widely offered by U.S. doctors, gender-detecting blood tests have been sold online to consumers for the last few years. Their promises of early and accurate results prompted genetic researchers to take a closer look. And they said, wow, these guys might kind of be onto something here. All right, Dutch traffic cops are looking for a creative writer who placed a warning sign just outside of one of their speed traps. The Highway Patrol started getting suspicions when they failed to issue any tickets at a spot usually filled with speeders. Investigation of the road leading up to the trap found a large wooden sign that says, "Take care, speed control 1 kilometer." Police quickly removed the sign, but they've not yet identified who the writer of the sign was. So is that illegal for you to do something like that, do you think?
I would assume, yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of the law, we always try to wrap things up around here with our strange law, and we do that again today as we head to Waterville, Maine. In Waterville, Maine, it is illegal to blow your nose in public.
Huh.
That's a strange law.
You know what, though? That's kind of nice. Go in private
polite.
and do that, because especially at restaurants and stuff, that's disgusting.
Yeah, I've seen that done.
Yeah.
Where people at the table next to you
are
really
so gross.
Struggling to get something done.
Go to the restroom.
Can you please go outside or somewhere? All right. That's a strange law from Waterville, Maine, and this has been your Scoop of the Day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. We've got a fun guest we're going to be visiting with today. And actually, I'm going to learn some things, and so are you, I'll bet. We're going to talk about primary care physicians, a dying breed. The doctors that we know as we were growing up are going away. And we have a doctor with us right now, Dr. Fred Jacobs. Dr. Jacobs, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
Now, you're with St. George University. What is it that you do there, sir?
At St. George's University School of Medicine, I'm the chairman of the Department of Medicine, and I'm executive vice president for the university.
And we're seeing fewer and fewer doctors. Now, why is that? What's going on that would lead to there being fewer and fewer doctors now?
Well, there's a lot of issues that really come to play in this. First thing is that many medical students come out of medical school now very heavily in debt because of very large student loans. And as a result of that, they tend to go into more high-paying specialties. Primary care specialties like internal medicine and family practice and pediatrics are not the high-paying specialties that some other fields in medicine are. So there's a tendency for them to go into more high-paying specialties to repay their debt. Number two, up until recently, I don't think that primary care specialties were favored by the faculty at medical schools, so that medical student mentors would basically take their brightest students and say, you should be an endocrinologist, for example, or some super specialist or a thoracic surgeon, rather than be the old-fashioned diagnostician, the primary care doctor who took care of individuals throughout their lifespan, because there wasn't a lot of scientific rigor in it, according to those people. Now we know that that's not true anymore, and there's a tendency for more of our students in particular. At St. George's, probably almost half of our class goes into primary care, because that's where their motivation is.
Nice. So you guys have quite a few students then that are doing the primary care route.
Yes, we are, and that's been throughout the history of the school. But now I think the number last year that went into primary care was just under 50%. So and it's a large class. So that's a lot of students who are going into the primary care workforce, and it really positions us at St. George's as being part of the solution to this problem.
Now, as students right now or maybe getting ready to graduate here in just a few months, they'll be walking across the stage, getting their diploma and trying to decide which field to go into. Is medicine still a good field to get into? Is this still a good field for someone to say, I'm going to spend my life in the medical field? That's still a good choice?
I think it's a great choice. As a matter of fact, it isn't just my opinion, because the number of applicants to medical schools in the United States this year is at an all-time high. There are more students applying for medical school these days than ever in the history of the country, which is interesting because, all the glamour fields like investment banking and some of the other fields in finance seem to have been more attractive in the past. But the people who go into medicine are doing it basically for the really fundamental reasons of this is a calling that they wish to answer, and it's something that they want to do of value for the rest of their life.
Now, a few years ago, when the introduction of Obamacare, I remember stories where there were, doctors who had been practicing for years who said, with these new regulations, I'm done. And I thought I had heard that there were going to be fewer doctors entering the field. Am I incorrect in that? Because it sounds like you were just saying that there are more students now than there were before.
There are more students now than there were before. That's a fact of the numbers. There are also doctors getting toward the end of their career who are retiring earlier for a lot of reasons. Some of the reasons are that the increased hassle, the paperwork, the regulatory environment that doctors have to practice these days is far different than it was when I was active in practice 20 or 30 years ago. Nowadays, there's electronic health records, there's meaningful use recommendations or requirements. You basically don't practice alone anymore. You practice as part of a team, maybe employed by the hospital or some other accountable care organization. The old days where a doctor was in solo or maybe practice with one or two other colleagues, those days are gone or going fast. So the environment in which the old-timers practiced isn't friendly for them anymore. So they're going away. The reason that there's a shortage in doctors now is not because there are fewer people going into medicine, but because the number of residency positions has not kept pace.
Okay.
Residency positions are funded largely by the federal government through Medicare, to a very large extent. There's some others, but that's mainly it. And unless that funding increases, you can have all the medical school graduates you want, but the choke point is at the residency level.
Again, we're visiting today with Dr. Fred Jacobs, and we're talking about primary care physicians, and it's the title of the article that I read, it says, Primary Care Physicians, a Dying Breed, and I'm glad to hear that as we learn more that there are still plenty of primary care physicians. And you were saying at St. George University, you guys have quite a few people that are doing that. That, to me, is a good thing. Are there areas that you look at and say, I think there really is a need here? Like if there are maybe students listening thinking, what do I want to be when I grow up? Are there some fields that you see that are underserved right now that over the next decade would be a great place for somebody to end up?
Well, there are. I don't want to tell people what they should do with their life, but those doctors who go into primary care have a very satisfying life experience because they deal with patients throughout the continuum of their lifespan. So whereas as young adults all the way through geriatric stage, those doctors are involved with those individual patients and their families for the long haul. So it's very, very, very satisfying. That's not to say that there aren't specialties that are satisfying as well. When I was in practice, I was in the practice of pulmonary disease and critical care, and I ran an intensive care unit, the one at the St. Barnabas Medical Center in New Jersey for 15 years. And that was a field that I felt very, very comfortable with. I liked it very much. And yet I had patients, because of the nature of chronic lung disease, who were my patients for many years with asthma and emphysema and chronic bronchitis and those kinds of things, so that it was a form of primary care, but in a specialty orientation. These days, I think that you'll find that individuals are practicing in groups, doctors are practicing in much larger groups, and while they have less of the individual paperwork they need to do themselves, they're insulated from that kind of relationship that doctors used to have with patients before. This is the size of the practice that they're involved with.
Well, it's been a lot of fun to visit with you today, and I know you've got a lot of other people to chat with, so I don't want to take your entire day. Thank you so much for chatting with us about this. And if somebody has some interest in maybe becoming a primary care physician, St. George University is where you are. How do they find you guys? Is there a website they can go to get some more info?
There is a website. It's sgu.edu, and you'll have everything you ever wanted to know about medicine and St. George is on that website, SGU, St. George's University.edu.
Well, Dr. Jacobs, thank you so much for your time today. We really do appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
And again, Dr. Fred Jacobs, and he is with St. George University. And again, we appreciate you tuning in to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by CarsForSale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at CarsForSale.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Did you know that 36% of Americans believe that NASA is keeping secrets about extraterrestrial life? Do you believe that?
Sure.
I do too. So we're in the 36%. We are in the minority, Heidi.
I don't think that like we have a body stashed somewhere or anything. I don't think that at all. But I think that they probably know some things that they're not necessarily
Rightfully so, though.
sharing with us.
I think they know stuff that they're not sharing because, you know what, maybe we don't need to know all of
Just
that right
like
now.
our government. We don't necessarily need to know everything.
Oh, there you go. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
It's kind of went off the fun track a minute ago there, so let's go back to fun. Most of us use them for fun and relaxation, but lately there's been a lot of serious research into whether video games can be a useful tool for medical purposes. For years, scientists have been wondering whether such games could be used to improve a patient's health or outlook. So there you go. Got that going for you. I'm not exactly sure how that got put into the fun fact category, but there it was. All right, coming up here in a bit, we're going to talk about Vicks VapoRub. And it comes with a warning label, apparently, or at least it should. That is on the way in a bit, right here on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Be careful with that Vicks VapoRub. Do we have any of that in the house?
Yeah.
Do we really?
Yeah.
Do we use it?
Not very often.
I can't ever remember using it. It says you might want to use something else on your children. Ooh. Researchers at Wake Forest University tell us that putting the menthol product like Vicks VapoRub on children to ease their colds may actually cause breathing problems. Dr. Bruce K. Rubin said rather than clearing congestion or easing a cough, it can actually stimulate mucus production and inflame airways. Infants and young children have airways that are much narrower than those of adults, so any increase in mucus or inflammation could narrow them even more, and maybe even severely. Rubin says that while many people like to use Vicks and other items like that to treat colds, there's not much data to show that it actually works. So my question, Heidi, what do we use it for? You said we have
put
some.
it on your chest when you've got a cold, and it helps you to breathe better because it's mentholatum, so it...
Does it actually work? They're saying it doesn't even work,
according
to this study. Now, again, this is from, who's this guy? Wake Forest University.
That's probably from the people that make NyQuil. And
according to a new study from NyQuil, nothing else works other than NyQuil. Now, this is from Wake Forest University, and they're saying not to use Vicks VapoRub on kids. I don't know. You might want to talk to your physician and find out more. I don't know anything about it. I'm not going to pretend to be a doctor on the radio. I'm just going to read what I read, and I already done that. So there you go. It just seems very confusing to me why they would sell a product if it doesn't even work.
We were never a very sickly family, so, I mean, I think the stuff that we have is probably 12 years old.
That's probably why. Probably why I didn't know it was there. I've moved it 6 times when we've moved. What's this stuff for? I don't know. All right. Anyway, that's a little info about Vicks Vapor Rub. Coming up, going to talk about facial jewelry. It's on the way in a bit on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
I do not have any facial jewelry, nor do you. Like nose rings, cheek rings,
Nope.
Eyebrow rings. Am I missing something?
Tongue
rings. But the Wyoming Governor's Food Safety Council voted to become the first state to officially ban facial jewelry on restaurant workers. It's a
I kind of like that.
This is a health department issue. And health department officials said they've had several cases of older ladies finding tongue studs or nose rings in their food. He couldn't provide the Associated Press with a single documented case or a disease expert. It says here a disease expert at the Oregon Health Science University said a nose ring would have to sit in a plate of food for 4 hours before enough bacteria was there to actually spread some sort of infection.
But even still, that's just, you don't want to find something like that in your food.
So I wonder if there are people really finding these because they're saying, we have people finding nose rings in their food. And they're like, oh, yeah, when did that happen? Well, I can't really tell you when it happened, but let me tell you, it's rampant in Wyoming. It is? Can you show me a single case? Well, I can't show you a single case. I don't know.
That just sounds
really
still
interesting.
gross.
There you go. But here's my thing. Use the truth to win the case. If that really happened, you have proof. If it didn't really happen, then don't say that.
Right.
I think if you're lying in a court of law, you should be held to whatever the highest
jail time,
whatever it is, fines, whatever. So,
but they weren't necessarily lying. I mean, maybe they've come across these cases and they just
if
didn't,
they have a case, they would have the evidence. Yeah, Mildred Jones on this date. But it sounds to me like they're just making it up. Well, a lot of old ladies are finding these in their food.
Why does it have to be just old ladies that are finding it?
That's what they said in the story. It's not me.
Couldn't it be any random person who would get one of these things in their food? Or are they just targeting old ladies?
I don't know. All I know is I think it's interesting. I'm not trying to take a side either way. I'm not a big fan. I don't have any facial jewelry, but if you have
you seen those big grommet things that they put in their ears? They're doing that now in their lips so that it goes through and you can see their teeth. Isn't that disgusting?
That's not for me. But you know what? If you have one of those and you like it, more power to you. Coming up, we're going to talk about something that reminds me of something my brother would do. Rocket Man, a man with a rocket motor on a moped. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
The other day when we were traveling, the song Rocket Man was on, and I said, oh, hey, Rocket Man. I haven't heard that in a while. That's what I'm going to call this man from the United Kingdom. Don't blink or you might miss Lee Denick on his moped. He's a mechanic from the United Kingdom, and he's got a moped with a jet engine on it. This vehicle, which normally would top out at 24 miles an hour, can now go about 200 miles an hour.
Oh, my God. That cannot be
Probably
safe.
Not. Started when Lee contacted Microjet Engineering for an upgrade for his scooter, which came in the shape of a jet turbine engine with an afterburner. Microjet Engineering, which usually makes jet engines, said they had to lengthen the scooter by a foot to make it long enough to actually take the engine. Don't look for Lee to be traveling at 200 miles an hour on the bike, though. He says he only dares go about 30 so far. He thinks he would try 70 miles an hour.
Oh, my God.
But he would never want to go more than that. The scooter also shoots off a flame over 2 feet long when it's driving down the road. Rocket Man. I could see my brother Joe driving that. I'm serious. And if anybody out there, if you know my brother Joe, you know what I mean. You could see him driving that too. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I mean, I wish I could do some of the stuff he gets away with. I'm like, yeah.
That must have cost a fortune to make that. Why not just buy a car at that point?
He wanted to be different. So there you go, Rocket Man. Coming up, we got some fun stuff about insomnia. That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
If you suffer from insomnia, what do you think the cause might be, Heidi?
Stress.
Could be that, or could be your darn cell phone. Yeah. Cell phones emit tiny amounts of radiation, not enough to cause serious damage, but enough to trigger insomnia. Also, can give you headaches and cause confusion. It reveals, a new study reveals that all that information, it was paid for by a group of mobile phone companies. Research believes, I'm struggling to read today, folks, I'm sorry. Researchers believe the radiation may increase stress levels and interfere with the brain's ability to produce melatonin, the hormone that causes drowsiness. They recommend avoiding cell phones in the evening hours. So saying,
yeah, just read a book.
Now,
that always puts me to sleep.
Something that we have been trying to do is to keep our phones away. You know, like our daughter before would stay on the phone late at night. So now we're saying, no, you need to charge your phone in the kitchen.
Yeah, we've kind of slacked on that again,
I know.
too. She had
was
it
up
last
late
night.
the other night.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good idea. And we can utilize this research right here to make our case on that.
That's right.
Now,
this is why.
But
if we do that, we need to leave ours downstairs.
Well, and here's the thing I was going to say, or at least in a different room. Because right now our phones are charging like right next to our heads while we're sleeping.
And that supposedly isn't good for you either.
Yeah, so we should move them somewhere else. And the other thing that's nice about that, my alarm goes off in the morning on my cell phone. I would have to get out of bed to go turn it off.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking this is a win-win-win.
That's a good idea.
So we got some good info
that.
here, and we're going to make sure you have that good info too. It's from Sun, wherever that is, S-U-N. I think that's a newspaper. But they say cell phones emit tiny amounts of radiation, and you're supposed to keep them away from you while you're sleeping. So put them in a different room, and everybody's going to win. Coming up, we got some good news to share. Got a couple stories, because the one, I don't know if I can really call it good news, but it's a good story. It's all on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
Always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, right?
Yeah.
So I got
absolutely
two stories.
Okay.
I'm going to go through the first one quick because this is all good stuff. But the second one, I don't know. I kind of doubt it's all good news. So first thing is 4 habits for a happy marriage from iMom. Now, this is good. You want to know this stuff. You want a happy marriage?
Absolutely.
Use terms of endearment. Call me sweetie. Call me schnookums. Call me, something. Rather than some of the names you call me. Honestly, she doesn't typically call me names. Every once in a while. And when she does, I usually have a chance. Number 2 on the list, laugh more. I think we do a good job at that.
We laugh a lot.
Number 3, steal a kiss here and there. I do that too. I like to give you a smooch. Number 4, have some we time. Do we have any we time?
Not really.
We have a lot of we time.
Well, at work.
We're together all day and all night. It's a lot of we time. So you mean we should go do something other than work?
Yeah, it's got to be not work related,
Well, we'll do
and
some
that
of
just
that.
doesn't happen.
There you go. So there's 4 habits for happy marriage. Now you ready for our other good news?
Sure.
Now this is the one that I said might not be 100% good news. If you're a coffee lover, John Fuller from Focus on the Family recently shared an article that he found that featured 12 different methods for producing the perfect cup of joe. But be warned, here's why I'm saying I don't know if this is good news. Several options can leave you significantly broker than you were when you started, if broker is a word, more broke, with less dough. In fact, one brags that it could produce an exquisite espresso for just under $10,000.
Oh, holy cow.
Yeah. I'm saying right now, if I spent $10,000 on a cup of espresso, first of all, you might want to check my pulse because I'm pretty sure I'd be dead if I did that because there's no way I could do that. I mean, even if I had the money, $10,000 for a cup of coffee? I don't know who does that.
What's in it that makes it
I
worth
don't
10,000?
know.
It doesn't
but there's
say?
no. Well, if they gave out the recipe, I don't think they'd sell much more coffee. So I don't know. It's the exquisite espresso for just under $10,000. So yeah, that's not going to happen. There you go. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio. And when you go there, you'll see you can buy razors for as little as $3 a month. They'll bring them right to you. It's a pretty cool deal. Check it out, dollarshaveclub.com/radio. In Dublin, a woman was locked overnight in a pub, and she won $5,135 in damages from the owners. She fell asleep on the toilet at the Searson pub in central Dublin.
Oh, my God.
Did not wake until 2 a.m., by which time the pub was closed. She sued the pub's owners, Guinness Ireland Group Ltd., for failing to check the toilets before locking up, and she won her case. $5,000 for sleeping at a bar all night. So, there you go. I think that was partially her fault.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that ruling is ridiculous.
Facebook and Twitter are more tempting than cigarettes and sex. Researchers at the University of Chicago discovered through an online poll that the urge to interact through tweets and comments was stronger than sex and cigs. In fact, researchers conducted that social networking is the hardest desire to resist.
Wow.
I don't think I'm quite that bad. I don't mind going on Facebook and messing around. I could care less about Twitter. Sorry, Twitter folks. But the truth of the matter is, if I had to be off Facebook for a month, I wouldn't really miss it.
No, I'd be fine with that.
I don't think I would. Recent study reveals 15% of adults in the United States do not use the internet or email at all. 15%. Some don't use the internet because they find it confusing or too hard, but 3.3 million simply have no interest.
Yeah.
None. Zero. Now, I have interest. I like getting on the internet, but again, if I was not on there, I certainly wouldn't ruin my day. How about this? Recent study reveals that almost 1/3 of American workers are too smart for their jobs. Too many people study the arts in college rather than business and science, which is more in demand by employers. As a result, these art majors end up in lower level jobs for which they are well overeducated. So they have a really great degree in something that doesn't apply to what they do. So that's the thing that I caution the next generation about when they're getting a degree. Make sure you get one that's going to actually be usable.
Exactly.
A 22-year-old man stole a taser gun from a police cruiser, then videotaped himself and his father tasing each other. And they put the video on YouTube, again, making the work of the police just too darn easy. They found them quite easily because they were tasing each other.
I would not want to be tased.
Nor would I. I spend most of my life trying to figure out ways to not get tased. I'm just saying. If one decision leads to tasing and one decision leads to not tasing, I'm taking second one, not tasing. Wacky but true, fortune tellers for pets. This is where we're going to wrap things up today because as soon as I'm done with this, I need to go buy a website. In Taiwan, people are taking their pets to fortune tellers to find out what's in store for their furry friends.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, dogs and cats and rabbits are being taken to a fortune teller, with some people bringing in pictures of their dead dogs to find out if their pet is having a good life in the underworld.
Oh, my gosh.
This is a real thing in Taiwan. And I think that should catch on around here. So I'm going to have to come up with a good website where we can... You submit me a photo and I'll tell you what your pet's thinking. How's that sound?
Oh, my gosh.
Can you believe that?
That is insane.
That is. I love my dogs. We were on our trip this weekend. We did not have our dogs with us. And I missed them immensely.
Yeah.
And when we got home, it's funny because Mandy just ignored me completely. But Miley, after I went and picked her up, and I snuggled with her a little bit, she didn't run away. She stayed there. And I just pet her, and we kind of stared at each other for a while. And I said, I really missed you. And then she looked at me like, you going to give me a treat or something? Why am I
Are you
here?
going to put me down?
What's the deal? Usually you give me a treat. That's why I stand here. But she definitely at least put up with me. But I missed, when we were gone, I missed our dogs, but I certainly wouldn't go to a fortune teller to find out how they're doing.
No, I missed them until middle of the night. You hear their little bells running around the bedrooms. Yeah. Like, you know what? Maybe we should just take them back to the kennel.
Let them have. Funny thing is, what you kept saying while we were trying to sleep.
I hope they're not cold.
Yeah, we're laying there trying to sleep, and Heidi says to me, because we're married, so this is why. If you didn't know that, I'm sorry. But the two of us are laying there trying to get sleep, and she says, I hope our dogs aren't cold. They're at a dog resort. They're not sleeping in a snowbank. We took the precautions to make sure that wouldn't happen. It's not like we pounded a steak in the backyard and filled their bowl with water. We did all the right stuff. They're going to be fine. It's like 3 or 4 different times he said that. I hope the dogs aren't cold. Whatever, Heidi. All right, that's going to do it for a bonus break. It's brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more about those guys. And I have an idea. Buy some razors. They're good. Check them out. DollarShaveClub.com/radio.